Hey folks, this is John Pozzetta with Henderson Building Solutions. I'm the Eastern Regional Commissioning Manager. We're continuing our conversation on commissioning requirements. Today we'll be talking about commissioning requirements related to LEED ID+C. That's LEED Interior Design and Construction. A great example would be a retail tenant where you have a landlord facility where, say, that landlord facility has pursued LEED core and shell as a separate project. The retail tenant might pursue LEED interior design and construction for specific to their retail space. Like LEED BD+C, which we also talked about recently, fundamental commissioning is a mandatory requirement for LEED ID+C. We're going to be commissioning the energy consuming and energy producing systems if we have renewables on site. We may also optionally look at the building envelope as it relates to the interior boundaries, although it's less of a requirement than it is with LEED BD+C. This is a pretty popular diagram that we like to use at Henderson that really details the entirety of the commissioning process and really what's within the commissioning scope throughout the project. So this takes a project from ideally the commissioning authorities involved pre-design all the way through the occupancy and turnover to the owner. Here's another great one that we like to use a lot to explain our process. Here's the requirements related specifically to fundamental commissioning for the LEED energy and atmosphere prerequisite. You'll also see there's some overlap with your traditional code required commissioning from IECC. But in addition to those code requirements, LEED is also going to require a few other things. One of those being drafting and creation of the OPR, the owner's project requirements. That's going to detail the owner's operative goals related to MEP systems, related to occupant requirements and occupant comfort, and indoor environmental quality, etc. That OPR is going to inform the basis of design as it is provided by the design team. And then ultimately, the commissioning authority is going to review that BOD for completeness and for compliance to the OPR. The commissioning authority is also going to put together a commissioning plan that's going to detail the roles, responsibilities of the commissioning team. It's going to also deliver sort of a description of what commissioning processes will occur within the project scope and a schedule for those activities. The commissioning authority is also going to produce a commissioning spec for inclusion in the design documents, just so that the construction team and contractors are aware of their requirements as it relates to commissioning. And that plan is really a living document. So as scope changes, as goals changed, as additional systems are added, that plan is going to be updated to reflect that. At some point during the design, the commissioning team will provide a design review. Enhanced commissioning provides an additional design review. We'll get to that in a little bit, but that design review is going to look at the drawings for consistency with the OPR. We're looking for errors. We're looking to reduce issues now to prevent problems during construction, to prevent problems during operation. And again, at some point during construction, during MEP rough-in, we want to have the owner, architect, design, and construction team present for a kickoff meeting. We're going to talk about goals of the commissioning process, what's to be commissioned, and what is expected of other commissioning team members. Also during construction, is the completion of pre-functional checklists. These are going to occur during static inspections of construction progress, where we're looking at the MEP systems to be commissioned and looking at their installation for completeness of work, adherence to the construction documents, adherence to best practices and manufacturers' installation recommendations. Any issues we see are going to be logged in our issues log and distributed to the team for resolution. At that same time, we're also developing our functional performance tests, the development of which is based off of the design team's sequence of operations, as well as the contractor's temperature control submittal. So when we conduct our functional performance tests, we're really driving that equipment through their sequences of operations. Ideally, that happens alongside the owner's personnel, alongside the temperature control contractor or other relevant contractors, and verifying that sort of what's supposed to happen actually happens in the field. In the event that it doesn't, we're going to log that in an issues log. We're going to review that with the construction team for resolution. And at that same time, we're going to start preparing our final report, just a summation of documentation that we've used along the way that explains our process, that is going to assist us in achieving that LEED prerequisite. We are also reviewing the project operation and maintenance plan as provided by the contractors. We're looking to make sure this has the necessary information to operate the building appropriately. And then ultimately, once we have resolution on the majority of the issues in our issues log, we're going to submit that final report to LEED online and check that green box to pursue that prerequisite. Enhanced commissioning for ID+C is broken into two options. Option one being just traditional enhanced commissioning, which has some additional requirements at different phases in the project process. The systems manual is a document that's provided along with enhanced commissioning. That's really a great document to understand how to operate the building. It's really sort of project space, occupancy, and operation 101. This is a great document for facility staff to understand what systems are on site, how are they installed, how will they operate, and you know, at what point can I continue to test them in the future. Enhanced commissioning also requires the development of training requirements. So typically at the end of the project, there's owner training, and enhanced commissioning, we just want to make sure that those complex systems and any training associated with them is delivered properly. And any requirements associated with enhanced commissioning are going to be included in the plan and spec that are provided along with fundamental commissioning. There's a submittal review associated with enhanced commissioning. This is an additional submittal review in addition to the design team's formal submittal review. We're offering our comments for inclusion in the engineer's formal design review. And again, we're looking at operability and maintenance requirements, compliance with the OPR and BOD. So after drafting and guiding owner training, we want to verify that it occurs. We may participate depending on the scope. We want to document attendance and then document the training agenda as well. And then again, a number of documents associated with the traditional fundamental commissioning process are updated to reflect the requirements of enhanced commissioning. Any seasonal or deferred testing that didn't take place, for example, if a building comes online during the summer, we will test cooling, we will probably simulate heating, but really it's best to do that seasonal or deferred testing to test heating during the winter under a true load. And really one of the greatest values of enhanced commissioning is that 10-month warranty review. That involves an additional site visit about 10 months after turnover, but prior to the expiration of the GC's 1-year warranty period. And we want to review equipment operation and understand any potential warranty issues that may be, so that we can help the owner occupant address those issues and seek resolution. And then there's one additional document, the ongoing commissioning plan associated with enhanced commissioning option 1. That ongoing commissioning plan really provides information on how to provide the facility with continuous commissioning. There's information on a recommissioning schedule. There's an updated plan. There's testing documents and a guide for testing should the owner choose to do that with their personnel or with their preferred commissioning authority. So we just discussed option 1. Option 2, enhanced commissioning, is monitoring-based commissioning. That's 5 points. Option 2 requires that you have already addressed option 1, enhanced commissioning. So this is, we can't just selectively choose monitoring-based commissioning. This requires that we perform your standard enhanced commissioning to achieve it. But it is 5 points. And if the metering and monitoring is in place, it's definitely worth pursuing. We want to ensure the requirements to achieve this are in the construction documents, because there is advanced metering. We want to make sure that everything related to this requirement is addressed early in design. And similar to developing that fundamental commissioning plan, we want to also develop a monitoring-based commissioning plan that helps us determine, what data are we looking for, where are we extracting that data, what output are we going to get, and then what are we going to do with that output once we have the data. And then ultimately, we need to implement that monitoring-based commissioning plan, right? So that there's additional testing requirements. We're verifying that the meters are installed appropriately, that we're reading good data, and that ultimately the owner and the commissioning authority are able to use that data to inform decisions within the project space. Thank you for joining us in our continued conversation on commissioning scope. This has been a discussion on commissioning requirements for LEED interior design and construction.